Welcome to April's monthly mini pattern. This month we are going to be making these mini raindrops. You will need an E crochet hook or 3.5 millimeter hook. You will need an acrylic yarn in any shade that you prefer. I have a sample here in blue and a lavender, which I will be making one more of. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it. A pair of 6 millimeter safety eyes, some black embroidery thread for making the face details if you choose to make a face on your raindrop, white acrylic yarn as well for the little accent stitch here. You'll also need a stitch marker for working to place in the first stitch of each round. It just makes counting a little bit easier. A pair of scissors to trim away any yarn or embroidery thread ends, a yarn needle for weaving it shut and weaving in the ends, and an optional touch here is makeup blush and a small little makeup brush to apply the blush on each cheek of the raindrop. But again, that's optional and not necessary if you choose not to do that step. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this pattern begins with a magic ring. If you do not prefer the magic ring to start, you can do the chain 2 method. So you would chain 2 and then make all of the stitches for round 1 into the second chain from the hook. If you came across this video simply on YouTube and not through my blog, you can find the full written pattern for this raindrop on my blog, and the link will be in the comments. So round 1, let's go ahead and place 8 single crochets into the center of the magic ring. We gently pull that starting tail to close the ring. The ring may come open a little bit as you work. That's fine. You can tighten it up as you go along. So for round 2, we're going to increase in each stitch around. So let's go into that first stitch that we made in round 1 and make a single crochet. That will be our first stitch of round 2. So I'm going to slide my stitch marker in there and we're going to increase. So I'm going to go right back into the same stitch and make another single crochet. And I'm going to do that in each stitch around. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around for round 2. So by the time we get to the end of round 2, we'll have 16 single crochets. Okay, we're back to our stitch marker. So for round 3, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 7 stitches, followed by an increase. We'll repeat that sequence twice. So by the end of round 3, we'll have 18 single crochets. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an increase. So 2 into that stitch. And let's repeat that one more time. 1 single crochet into the next 7 stitches, followed by an increase. And an increase in that last stitch. We have 18 single crochets. For rounds 4 and 5, we're simply going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So you'll have a total of 18 single crochets for each round 4 and 5. And just to revisit this, I've talked about it in other videos, but when you're working in the round, your work will have a tendency to curl wrong side out. So you can see that mine is currently wrong side out because the starting tail is on the outside. So as you're working along, just kind of push that back in so that you're working in a clockwise motion and your starting tail is on the inside. And after a few rounds, it'll stay put. And that way you have it right side facing out. So I'm going to make one single crochet in each stitch around now for rounds 4 and 5. Okay, for round 6 we're going to begin decreasing. So for this round we'll place one single crochet into the next 4 stitches, followed by a decrease. So there's our first 4 single crochets. Now to decrease, we're going to place our hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and then go immediately into the next stitch and pull up a loop. So we have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So you've taken 2 single crochets down to 1. So let's repeat that again. That will be the sequence. So 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, followed by a decrease. And we'll repeat that one last time. 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, followed by the final decrease of this round. So we'll have 15 single crochets made. Okay, for round 7, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, then decrease. So by the end of this round, we will have made 12 single crochets, and at the end of this round, we will begin to make the face for our raindrop. I'm going to move that out of my way. I'm going to tuck my starting tail inside so it's out of the way, and here's what we have so far. So to begin the face, I'm going to take my safety eyes and I'm going to place them between round 4 and 5. So here's 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Slide one in. And I'm going to put them about 2 stitches apart. With the face, you can do whatever you like. So feel free to get creative. You can see on this one, I didn't put a mouth and made him look a little bit more sad. Here's a happy raindrop, just like this one. I like this yarn because it sparkles a little bit. So now that I have the safety eyes in, I'm going to thread my yarn needle. I simply use my yarn needle because it's handy. If you want to use an embroidery needle, please do that for the embroidery thread. Since I've made eyebrows on the other 2 raindrops that I've made, I think I'm going to do eyelashes on this one. You can see that I've waited to attach the safety backs. Highly recommend that you wait to attach the safety backs to the eyes until you are done with all details of the sewing, because it just, once those safety backs are on, you can't move the eyes, and sometimes they're hard to work around when you're making eyebrows or eyelashes, in my opinion. once you have that sewed on, I simply take the ends of the embroidery thread and tie them together. And then I trim away the excess and tuck them down in there. Now I can pop the backs onto the eyes. You'll hear it pop when it's in place, and then you can put the other one on. Okay, now that I've gotten both of the safety backs onto the eyes, let's go ahead and proceed to round 8. Move my stitch marker, and for round 8, we're going to decrease 6 times. So here's our first decrease. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So by the end of round 8, we're going to have 6 single crochets. There's our third decrease, so we're down to 3 single crochets. Fourth decrease. Fifth decrease. And our final decrease. Okay, now that we've decreased in each stitch around, we're going to stuff our raindrop. So got a little bit of fiber fill here. I'm going to stuff it enough that the raindrop holds its shape, but that the stitches don't gap. Okay, when you're done stuffing, we're going to proceed to round 9, and we're going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So by the end of round 9, you will have made a total of 6 single crochets. We are so close to being done with this little raindrop. This is one of the final steps, and it is optional if you want to put a little white accent stitch, kind of like a reflection, a piece of white yarn in your yarn needle, and just put it above one of the eyes. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to go right here. I just go through one stitch twice, so in and out, just like that. And then once I've completed that, I tie those ends together and stuff them inside the raindrop. Now the final round of the pattern, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next stitch, followed by a decrease, and then we'll repeat that. So by the end of this final round, we'll have a total of 3 single crochets. I'll decrease right here, and we are going to fasten off, leaving a tail of yarn for weaving our raindrop shut. So let's remove that stitch marker and thread the yarn needle. And I'm going to pass this needle just in and out of those front loops of those 3 stitches that we made in the final round. Once I get through that final loop, I'm just going to gently pull the yarn to close, just like that, and then I'm going to pass the needle through the body of the raindrop to secure that to secure that yarn end, pardon me. And then I've got the little tail over here, and I'm just going to trim it away. So here we have our little raindrop. So far, you can just shape it as you need to. And then one final but optional step is to take some makeup blush just up under each eye to have a rosy cheek.